Hello and welcome back to the Advancing Health Innovation Show. I'm your host, Michael Stamatinos. And if you're new to us, man, we're really excited to have you here because we're having some just inspiring conversations with some of the best leaders in healthcare, some of the brightest minds. And we're really focused and passionate around a few different things. We're focused around access, healthcare innovation, leadership, and a combination of other things. If it's your first time tuning in, let me just kind of take a quick step back and try to just tell you what we're really trying to do here. So, we're focused on bringing real stories of innovation to life, not just the wins and not just the sexy, glamorous stuff, the real stuff. And our aim is to highlight real people that are getting things done within our space and giving them the opportunity and the platform to be able to share their story with our community and ultimately with the world. So if you hadn't had an opportunity to check out any of the historical interviews, make sure that you hit the subscribe button now, wherever you are, where you can get any of the newest interviews that come right directly to you. So our field, it's consistently evolving. It's moving really fast. And it's crucial to have leaders that can envision the future of healthcare, that are eagerly embracing innovation and addressing a lot of these big pressing challenges. And we've got no shortage of challenges that are happening right now. So our next guest is one of these leaders. I'm very excited. Say excited is an understatement. Very excited. So Austin Walters is the founder and the managing partner at SpringTide Ventures. So Austin has embarked on a mission with SpringTide Ventures, and the vision is very, very clear to found and invest in companies that are at the forefront of elevating health globally. The vision, it's not just a statement, it's a commitment to transforming healthcare, the landscape, by backing tomorrow's most groundbreaking healthcare companies today. So before shaping the future of healthcare with SpringTide, Austin founded and played pivotal roles in several ventures, and we'll talk about that, including Analytics, Innosight, and Econos, amongst others. So his journey in investing began in 2010, grounded in principles of disruptive innovation, which is sort of a testament to the work of the late Clay Christensen. Austin had the privilege of working alongside Clay, being mentored and molded by him, and he's taken that and he's really taken to the next level. So Austin's influence extends beyond the boardroom. I think, interestingly to me, his commitment around making a difference to humanity shines through his volunteer work, from forming a life-changing bond as a big brother and really contributing his skills to the Big Brother, Big Sister Foundation. And he even dedicated 2 years of his life as a full-time missionary in Eastern Ukraine. So really sort of just demonstrating the capacity for leadership, compassion. This guy is the real deal, y'all. And we're going to really enjoy today digging in deep with him, exploring a lot of his journey, his vision for healthcare innovation, and just extracting valuable insights on what brings entrepreneurs, what they're making to make the human world better. So, Austin, great to see you. Welcome to the show. What's going on, man?
Glad to be here, Michael. That's a very generous introduction. Thank you.
Well, we try to make our guests feel really comfortable, when they come on, right? We don't want to make people feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Before we kind of get into the heady stuff, I've just been thinking about this for a long time. What's like the most outlandish pitch you've ever received? Did it secretly have potential?
Well, there are two that come to mind. Can I share two quick ones?
Yeah, it's your episode. Do whatever you want.
All right, sounds good. One was last year, and it's a company called Endiotics, like endotherapeutics, and they
Hmm.
are working on a swallowable camera
Hmm.
that's the size of a pill, and it goes into your stomach, and it can be controlled by the physician. And sort of capture, in sort of your gastric system images of things. Um, Similar devices are being developed. I saw another one that can emit therapeutic light to
Wow.
treat certain types of ulcers and other internal skin conditions in the gastro tract. So that's one. I mean, they demoed it at a show so you could see the inside of this person's
Wow.
stomach as they were showing us. Very like wild. And then yesterday I met with a company very, very early stage that is actually interested in the human brain computer interface. So they're computing people, but they're using ultrasound technology to image the brain dynamically through the skull, which is supposed to be impossible. But they claim to have an approach to achieving that with higher resolution than fMRI,
Hmm.
which would be the current way to do that. And the form factor for the products would be earbuds that you could wear that would be continuous and based on this understanding of the signals from your brain, you would be able to interface with computing without touching anything or using your hands.
Interesting.
And so definitely a moonshot, very, very early stage, but fascinating, right?
Yeah, fascinating stuff. That's really interesting. I think about the seat that you're sitting in now, and as I kind of was talking through your introduction, your story isn't exactly linear. If
Mm.
you kind of had to describe your journey using a metaphor, what would it be?
Oh, one step enough for me. Like sort of
Yeah.
take, so you talked a bit about my work with Clay, and that started as a consultant at a firm that he co-founded called InnoSight, which provides management consulting services to its clients. And my clients there were large healthcare companies, Walgreens, Medtronic, J&J, um, and so that was my introduction to the healthcare industry, was applying theories of disruption to the industry and helping these large companies navigate threats and opportunities. And I learned a lot. And um, I think that we used a framework often of innovation, and it's not too different from the lean startup methodology, if you've read
Yeah.
that. Some of the
Yes.
work around software development, right? That you can
Build,
be more
test, measure, learn.
yeah, test, measure, learn, exactly. And what we would say is, fail often, quickly, and cheaply. So you embrace failure, small f, to keep it small f, and pivot your way to success, which no one really knows a priori where that sits. You might think you know, but you don't know. So you have to have an ability to take one step, reevaluate your assumptions, take another step, reevaluate your assumptions, and work your way towards success. So um, I guess I'm a fox, not a hedgehog, and I like to try and experience lots of different things. So that I love that methodology because it speaks to my personality.
That's right. That's right. Literally, Clay wrote the book on disruptive innovation. Is
Yeah.
what's a misconception that people still have about disruption that even seasoned entrepreneurs, still get wrong.
Yeah, that word um, took on a life of its own, and it became synonymous with success, really, of new technology generally, right?
Mm.
In Clay's definition, and his seminal book was The Innovator's Dilemma, came out in the mid 90s. And then he had a series of books thereafter that applied the theory, well, developed it further in the innovator's solution, and then applied it to different industries like disrupting class and education, innovator's prescription for
Yeah.
healthcare, et cetera. And the in his original book, you kind of refined this later, but he says that there are two kinds of innovation. There's sustaining innovation, which are innovations that support existing business models,
Mhm.
basically. And often you have large incumbents that invest in sustaining innovation. So think next year's version of the Toyota Corolla. There, there's innovation that goes into that, right?
Yeah.
But it's sustaining. Disruptive innovations uh, redefine a category from the low end. And there are a few leading indicators of disruption. One is it's a low end entry strategy. Often it's serving groups of people that are non-consumers because the historical offerings have been too inaccessible somehow, maybe too costly or too complex or what have you. And the industry incumbents that in theory could crush a new entrant are not motivated to because their most profitable, attractive core customers tell them, don't worry about it. We're not interested in that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So a classic example of this from Clay's work, and by the way, many of his examples in his first two books were from post-war Japan, interestingly.
Hmm.
So when the Japanese automakers entered the US market, or Sony Walkman radio, relying on transistor technology, the RCA that had the vacuum tube based large furniture piece type radios weren't worried about it. Ford, Chrysler, GM weren't worried about Honda, Toyota, um, because from their perspective, these were little toys.
Mm.
And what they didn't understand is that though they started at the low end, there were lots of Americans at the low end of the market that were pleased to buy something more affordable that was more fuel efficient or that they could use to listen to the Beatles outside earshot of their parents. And these disruptive innovations, and I would say this is another hallmark, maybe less developed in the theory, but it seems true to me, which is disruptive innovations often have a steeper performance improvement curve over time
Mm.
than your sustaining innovations. And so at some point in the future, they intersect and surpass the sustaining innovations in performance. At that point, they're not only are they more accessible, lower cost, but they're also just better. And
That's right.
the vacuum tube based radios go away and RCA is killed. So that's what Clay was famous for was really laying that out. And he said, look, too much business theory focuses on leaders and individuals and whether they're good or bad or what mistakes they made. And he said, look, far more than all of that, it's these dynamics of incumbency and disruption that explain success and failure. It sort of reminds me of Tolstoy's War and Peace, where he takes down the French theories of Napoleon as this great, driver of history. And he says, no, it's really just an expression of the French will at that time.
Mm.
So it's it's theory, not everyone's into theory, but I think it's a powerful way to understand industry change over time and also just opportunity and why venture is so exciting.
Well, you mentioned that philosophy, and everyone loves to talk about success stories. Tell me about the venture that tanked
Yeah.
and what that taught you about even your own judgment. And despite having uh, this framework.
Oh boy. I mean, I'm a serial entrepreneur, so I had a handful of ventures of my own. I'm very fortunate that of the four ventures, two of which I founded, two I joined very early.
Right.
Um, Two are going concerns, one sold successfully, and one failed outright, but that was my first one, and luckily it was a mobile app that we didn't sink too much into. Um, but there were some pretty basic assumptions I had about that venture that proved incorrect quickly. So hopefully I didn't do a terrible job of failing quickly and cheaply on that in that case. Um, we've backed nearly 40 ventures at SpringTide since 2018. And as you can imagine, there's a distribution of performance among that portfolio, right? Some have done very well, some are, many I would say are going concerns that are, wending their way to some outcome, but it's not clear yet, right, how that's going to turn out. And then some are really struggling. Let's see. only one of our ventures has actually gone out of business, and we've written it down to zero. And this is a company, so I can name the name in that case, right? The others, I I don't know that I'm going to publicly sort of,
That's right.
categorize. Um, we like to say we are our founders' biggest fans, and that's true. Whether the things are going very well with the company or whether they're struggling, and sometimes that changes seasonally, right? But this company,
Yeah, that's
Nope,
right.
um, is one we invested in out of Fund One in 2019. We didn't have a lot of money into it, but they were trying to build a software platform to be sort of a general intelligence platform for healthcare administration, and it would plug in data into data streams from Internet of Medical Things and kind of your standard operational considerations of healthcare. And I really think that it was a combination of things as always, but long sales cycles, I think maybe biting off too much, running into capital problems, and they're one, unfortunately, that's actually gone out of business. But we've been very fortunate that that's the only one so far. So, and again, our hats are off to the founders that get in the ring and fight the good fight, um, it doesn't always work out. In fact, it usually doesn't work out spectacularly well, um,
Yeah.
for ventures. Those are long odds. Um, but yeah,
Well, it goes to say that you're not just investing capital. It sounds like what you're also saying is you're also investing belief. And
yes,
sometimes that currency of belief is what someone needs at a particular moment in time, that spark to get them to do something. And there's an element of leadership, right? Which is you can pull something out of someone and say, look, this is what we see.
yeah,
And this is in you. You don't see it, we see it.
yeah,
And I can't tell you, having sat across the table from lots of founders, sometimes that is the dose of what they need, is that
yeah.
injection of belief and encouragement. You've sat across at this point hundreds, if not thousands, of founders. Um, when was the last time that someone completely changed your mind in a pitch meeting? What'd they say?
Hmm. That's a good question. Hmm. I think, I try and in good Clay fashion to let theory guide me as opposed to how I'm feeling in the moment based on a meeting with a founder, the kind of chemistry, right? Or because I'll tell you, there's a seductive thing that can happen in investing or partnerships, which is an investment of time and reputation, right? So investment, to your point, it goes far beyond dollars, right? And it's faith, it's time, it's reputation, it's right, it's partnership and everything that entails. And one of the things that can happen is you feel like you can help someone, and that
Yeah,
feels good. That feels good. And so you choose to allocate investment that direction. Now, and that's all wonderful, and that's true. And this is why we're a lead investor. We take board seats with our companies so that we can help be there and know what's going on and invest that faith over time, right? We love doing that. But let me share another paradigm. If you step back and look at investment performance just objectively, um, it's often the case that those companies and founders that uh, how to say this, um, that you tend to spend less time with are the ones driving most of the financial performance.
yeah,
So there's a bit of an ego trap, right? This is part of the conclusion I've come to, is that there can be a bit of an ego trap. I think I'm going to invest in this opportunity because I can help. When it might be the case that the strongest founders don't need you.
So let's take that concept for a second. You can only back one founder.
Yeah.
Okay. What qualities would that founder need to have to kind of earn your loyalty based on what you know now? You're saying because if that founder is really strong, he or she, what qualities do they have? Have you seen any patterns emerge? And what are those patterns? What are those qualities?
I have, yeah, and I'm working on an article right now on the cheetah CEO, and this is a term we use to describe the profile. Um, and there are, different profiles of success. So I don't want to be too narrow with all of this,
That's
right?
right.
Just sort
Yeah.
of sharing
Yeah.
observations,
Yeah,
but
we take it with a grain of salt. Yeah, we're not going
yeah,
to hold you
yeah,
to it.
but look, I mean, certain things are table stakes. Integrity, hard work. Um, but what makes a cheetah, we found, is someone that has tremendous force, leadership. It's what the engineers around Steve Jobs called the reality distortion field, right? He was exceptional at that. But often it's a combination of subject matter expertise and leadership capability and work ethic, drive, the ability to break through walls. Um, Usually, if they're doing pilots, they're paid, right? These are folks that tend to be able to generate revenue quickly by hook or
Right.
by crook, and
Speed to
yeah.
revenue. Got it. All
Yeah.
right. We're kind of coming towards the tail end of our time, so I want to make this last few minutes really exciting and interesting. I'm going to do a little rapid fire,
Okay.
and so let's go. Biggest red flag in a pitch meeting.
Deadweight equity,
Hmm. What's more important, grit or vision?
grit,
Most overrated buzzword in health tech right now.
AI,
If you weren't in venture capital, what would you be doing right now?
founding another company. For
Okay,
sure.
what is the weirdest productivity hack you swear by?
Managing my own calendar. Do you know that I heard this, I don't know if this is true strictly, but Elon Musk doesn't have personal assistants. Do you know that?
I've
Like
heard
he
of that,
does all
yes.
his own flights and meetings and stuff. And like I don't know if that's a productivity hack, but I feel like it is.
And then sort of just kind of rounding this out because I know we're almost at time. So if you look back, what's like the piece of advice that you'd give to your younger self when you were just starting out in venture capital?
Um, Always, always, always be of service
Hmm.
to everyone you interact with, whether it's a fit for your strategy or not. Uh, Provide value and
Hmm.
be kind, be good. I'm going to share a spiritual belief I have, if I may, which is
It's your
that
episode.
we're all brothers and sisters, and I really believe that, spiritually speaking. And if you
Mm-hmm.
really believe that, I think that informs how you view others and their potential and how you treat them. And so, no matter how busy you get, always, always, always be of service, always provide value, and that can include being clear and saying no, sooner rather than later. That can be serviceable too, but doing so in a way that also appreciates and respects and give a gift, make an intro or two.
Mm.
Just build relationships and that's what we try and do. And I think we're always more work to do to really be that way always in all places and in all times. But that's what we strive for.
That's cool, man. I'm a work in progress. It's good.
Yeah.
Listen, you do a lot of interviews. Is there a question that you wished more people would ask you during these types of conversations and but they never do?
Your questions were pretty good today, Michael, I've got to say. Uh, no, this is awesome. I always learn from you every interaction we have, and it's been so fun to work with you and build Wave, which we're gonna have every year. And
Yeah, let's talk. Let's talk. Give a little commercial of how people can follow the work, how they can, really keep
the
track of what you and the team have been doing. It's honestly, it's really amazing, man.
Well, thank you. Yeah. So I mean, look, we we want to fund the greatest healthcare companies of tomorrow, and we're really interested in the rewiring of healthcare, the future of healthcare. We're fundamentally optimists. And so we want to find kindred souls and cheetah leaders that are doing that. And we want to partner with them. And so Wave is an annual event that we host alongside of our annual meeting. Michael
It's an
came.
immersive experience.
It's an
An
immersive
immersive experience.
experience. Thank you. Which Michael coined for us. He's so good. Your audience probably knows this already about you, but
We try. We try.
uh, and we bring together the top leaders, the top entrepreneurs, innovators in healthcare every year. That's our vision. And and I thought year one, 2024 went very well. We're so excited to launch, kick it off again this year, and it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah,
So yeah,
amazing. Austin, it's great to have you on the show. And for those that have tuned in, if you found this conversation to be enlightening, would you just mind giving it some love? Be in service to it, share it, comment on it, let us know what stood out to you. So, Austin, I'm looking forward to our next conversation. Obviously, the doors are always open for you to come back again and share more of your insights. So, thanks for today.
would love to, Michael. Always enjoy it. So
All right,
we'll
man. See ya.
talk to you soon. Bye.